On day 17, we'll be looking around this area of Poland. We'll be leaving Tzinek, going over to Woliska, to the salt mine, then back to Krakow, and then back to Tzinek for the night. As usual, it seems that Pavel's in a hurry when he drives. We'll be headed to Woliska salt mines. Salt was discovered here in the 13th century. The central building with its tower is the lift that brings people up and down. And this is an illustration of what the miners would have looked like. We'll be following this route through the mine. There are 2,400 chambers now excavated in the mine and over 300 kilometers of passage. We'll be using the lift to go up and down instead of the stairs. And this is our guide for the day.
These doors are dividing the air into two systems in case of fire or something.
We will only be seeing about 2% of the mine. We start off 64 meters or 190 feet below ground. This wood is stacked up to keep the ceiling from falling down, and these lifts are used to lift heavy loads. We will eventually end up about 400 feet below ground.
The color of this wood is white because it's the mixture with calcium, which protected wood from fires, so it's a fireproof layer. After some years, it is so very well preserved by salt that it's also fireproof.
Never touched.
Very dark color because of some contaminations in there, like clay, sand and the others. That's why the color is so dark.
First we'll be looking at the Copernicus chamber.
It says that Kinga was the Hungarian princess, the daughter of the king Bela IV.
Notice the salt on the wood. Almost like petrified. Next up is the Select chamber. Here we'll see how the lifts work. The men would have held on to ropes going up and down very dangerously.
That's why it was called dead right. And it was really done right. One great block of salt would divide the village. Not the one.
This would be for one block of salt. You could buy an entire village. Salt was so expensive. Now we go to the Piscali Gala chamber. To get to the bottom, we have to go down many steps. These are the steps the miners would have used alongside the steps we're using now. This chamber was excavated in 1669. The Polish people are very religious and Catholics, and the Holy Cross Chapel is next. Next comes the largest church there, St. Kinga's Chapel.
Almost 70 years by only 3 men.
Next we'll be heading to the tall Mikolaus chamber. These structures are used to hold the roof up, it's so tall. Deborah the Explorer heads deeper into the salt mines of Woliska. Here she goes. What will she find? Where will she go next? As she heads down, ever downward through the tunnels. And we keep going down. The mine itself is over 1,000 feet deep. This is an underground salt lake they use for a spa. And of course they have to have a shop to try and sell us something. We are now near the bottom of the Slazic channel. We now have completed our tour and we're on the way out, but we'll stop by the John Paul II Chapel on the way. Then it's time to get the lift all the way back up. As we head back into Krakow, we see the public transportation running throughout the city, making it very cheap and easy to get around in, even without a car. But you see apartment complexes everywhere. Most people in Krakow live in apartments. And this is the hospital where Pavel works. For lunch we held to a Milch bar, which serves all different kinds of dumplings or ravioli, sweet, meat, and all different kinds. Then we head out to the communist area that was built to house people for the steel mill that's in the area. You'll notice the wide streets, even though they had very few cars, and the block buildings that all are the same pattern and have very little access, so they could easily control the people inside them. There was also a central heating building that distributed hot water to all the different buildings around, and nothing in each building. And now we head into the more modern part of the city. The city was really designed without cars in mind, so they have to park on the sidewalks actually to park. A Harley Davidson with trainer wheels, Joe. We'll be going to the central downtown part to the cloth market and surrounding square, where we'll be for the next few hours. Pavel has to go to classes, so we'll be looking around on our own. And of course we'll be doing some shopping. Underneath the cloth market building is some ruins from Roman times. There are pigeons everywhere in the square. But I'll be going to look at those ruins underneath the building for a little bit. Here's the concrete path. By burying people on the side, they prevent them from rising as vampires. You'll notice in this model that the cloth market is surrounded by many buildings, and it had a wall around the entire city. This is chain mail. Back in the square, there are many children's groups. Sometimes they go on field trips for a week at a time. Downtown Krakow. And here's the Deborah. The walls have now been turned into park. Heading out of town, we see two things that are unusual. One is they show what temperature it is, and this is a student driver's car. And then we rush back to Tzenik, and that will end our day 17.